evening, guys. It's Wednesday. It's the full agenda with me, Mr. B, Bath Time, OMONDI, Pat. And we've got a special guest. I know some of you are going to know him from his channel. Just introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, the name is Richard. Happy to join today. It's great to speak to you. And I think Mr. B, we might have met once. Pat, I've seen you on the channel a lot, but Bath Time and OMONDI are great friends, and we've done a lot of podcasts on my channel in the past. So it's good to finally speak to everybody at once. And if anyone doesn't know, there's a few people I know in the chat that watch both channels. Then Rich Sports is my channel, mainly Manchester United. Occasionally I get Arsenal fans on, and with mixed success, but we usually try and cover mostly Manchester United and then do a few other podcasts when we're not playing.
You know what's funny? When Rich was introducing himself, he reminded me of James Bond. I thought you could say it's sport, Rich Sports.
I keep thinking I need to rename it, but I just can't. Yeah. It's quite vague, isn't it? Because it's football, but occasionally I do other things. But I'll just leave it like that.
We were saying this the other day that we maybe because we're the Man United agenda, we're kind of restricted. But Rich Sports, you could be doing water polo, isn't that right, Yank? Talking smack.
Water polo? Where the hell's that come from?
It's a sport. I know Yank. I heard Connor does water polo as well. So
isn't he Olympian or something?
Connor,
water sport.
Yank talking smack.
Yeah,
Olympic level.
Yeah.
Okay. You lot should. I haven't played water polo since college. Yeah. I was going to say, okay, fair enough. That, as I said, that wouldn't be a sport that I would really be interested in. I can't swim a stroke, but fair play to you, Connor, for doing that. On Monday, could you go through some of these messages before we start jigging over Sir Jim?
Yeah, I did see Big Jeff in the house. He said headed to surgery soon, so we wish you all the luck, bro. Only for tonight is Ineos, but it's up. I was going on. You can read that for yourselves, guys. I'll have to speed through.
Maybe he's on the meds already.
Sounds like oh, Jeff. And then they talk about Greenwood as well because there's an announcement made. I'm sure we might touch on that. Big up Solo. How you doing, Solo? Big up Andrew Williams, the quiz master. Howdy, Solo Monster. He's saying there. Yank is in the house, as we said. Water polo. Don Gargan. He's saying big up to Rich as well. DK Wilson is in the house from America. So we've got two Yankees in the house. Yippee-di-yo. And Bart, serious fan, is in the house as well. So, yeah, we've got a diverse community here today.
All right, look, guys. Obviously, it was made official last night, and he has been moving with some pace in what he's doing. I'm not going to lie. I'm really beginning to like Sir Jim. I did want the Sheikh to come in and splash all of his cash, buy a new stadium and, make our grass greener at Old Trafford, blah, blah, blah. But I did say also that I wouldn't mind it being done organically. And I think organically is probably the way that I'm enjoying it the most at the moment. I'm blown away by his interview. It's got a little bit of Alex Ferguson about him. He's definitely a supporter of the club. And yeah, I'm delighted that obviously the interviews come out today. What's he?
He's winding up, Connor. It started already.
Oh God, why? I leave them lot in the chat. Yeah, I just want to know what your feelings are. Bath Time. I know we had a slight conversation before about Sir Jim, and I want to get your opinion on it, Rich and OMONDI and Pat.
So, do you want to start with me?
Yes, please.
Well, I've always been sort of a bit dubious about both parties that were going to sort of take over the club. I've spoken at great length about the time Ineos carpet bombed Darlington with asbestos and heavy metals, which was quite near me. And you can say what you want about the Glazers. They ain't never sort of like poison my water. But Qatar, it seemed just a terrible option from the start. No football people involved. We don't know if the guy was real or not. And so I've been a bit hesitant about Sir Jim. And he's come in today, Mr. B, and I feel like I've been seduced. Everything he said has resonated with me. I love his force of character. I love his understanding of the situation, and I can't lie, I'm really excited about this kind of mid-level management reshuffle, which I never thought I would say. So I'm over the moon at the moment.
Monday, I know when we started the channel 3 years ago, you weren't really into all of the financials. You just wanted us to be playing football. What's your feelings now, obviously 3 years later, and the fact that we've now got somebody who seems to have the club's best interests at heart, although he's only got 27.7% ownership?
He's obviously turning on the charm. He's got bath time seduced right now, and that's saying something. Yeah, I listened to the interview today, and he does talk really well. Look at his face. He doesn't look. He's 70 odd, isn't he? 72, and he looks well. He's got full.
He's how old? 72,
73, I think. Something.
He said he's got an 11-year-old son.
Well, you know what these old boys are like.
That was in 1999. His son is now like.
It doesn't fall off after a certain age around.
No, I know that.
30.
Hold on. So where did I see his son's 11 years older? What the hell am I talking? What was it?
Probably right. Look, if it was a woman,
Mr. B.
Yeah, he said his son's 11 years old.
He was about 11 in 1999.
Yeah, so he's like
25
34
years ago.
35.
Oh shit! Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, you know what? I read it like on space. You know I'm like on a Wednesday.
Mr. B's the oldest in the panel. That's why he's worried. What? 72 still have children, or 62? Don't worry, Mr. B. Just keep at it. You're.
No, I'm not making that mistake, bro. Straight up.
Just go. Yeah, I just want to add. I think there's been a lot of positive quotes over the last few months, and saying the right things. But like politicians, it's all right having this manifesto and saying lovely things to turn us on and play to our heartstrings. But action speaks louder than words. Ain't that right, Pat?
Yeah, the man's a billionaire. Not only is a billionaire, he's a visionary. He's came in, he's taken over our club. He's saying all the right things. Batman was 100% correct. What the Saudis have done, they came in, throwing money at the situation. Sure, we've been doing that for the past 10 years, and look where that's got us. Absolutely nowhere. So I'm all for Sir Jim, the track record of Ineos and himself buying football clubs for the last how many years. They started out with the Swedish club. That was their first little forte. Then they bought Nice, and they now have moved. They've got enough experience and the understanding of what they have to do to be proactive, to build and maintain a top flight football club. And so Jim is only one of the most important parts of this takeover. And I'm really excited for Jim, but I'm really excited for his team that he immediately brought in and the team that he's immediately building around him. So this is all just what will happen on the pitch should be simple after this.
Pat, can I just say, you don't look excited.
Oh, yeah, lads, I am.
Cautiously excited, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't want to sit here and get too excited, but we're starting.
It sounds like Ratcliffe's in the room. Has got a gun pointed.
I don't know. Pat,
video.
It's hard to tell.
Sorry, Mr. Ratcliffe. No,
Rich.
he is. They are great.
Rich,
like everybody said, I think we probably started channels a few years ago, similar sort of time. I think it's like the 4th year for me. And every time we do podcasts, you look at thinking, well, the problem is that the Glazers are still in charge. You look at every transfer window, every decision maybe we make as a club. You just think we just need to get people that know what they're doing. And obviously, Jim seems to be. It's quite early days, and I did get into not arguments, discussions on social media with people saying, "Why are you being so optimistic?" You go, "Well, this is the first time, I think, in several years where it seems that things are changing because they're getting people like Brailsford, more serious people that aren't going to mess about. We're getting people that want to jump ship from Newcastle after just signing a significant contract with them just a year and a half ago. So maybe a couple of years ago, we try and get these high-level people, mid-level management, board members, and these people look at Manchester United as a joke and don't want to come. Now, they resign at Newcastle. They want to leave. They want to come and be part of the project. And I think whatever you think, that sort of thing happening, it's got to send a message to go, look, people are once board members, director of football, these people that are sought after by many clubs, they can work where they want. Just they choose Manchester United, then that's going to happen where when we start recruiting players will be choosing Manchester United. We won't have to give them £400,000 a week to come here. We won't have to pay ridiculous transfer fee to get them to come here with sign-on bonus. They'll come because they want to come. They'll get excited by the project. So for me, and there's a lot of reasons to be excited. I know I don't know if I look less excited than Pat, but I'm cautiously excited because for the first time in ages, it feels like we are actually making sensible decisions. Well, it's going to take a while, and I know people will look at it probably in a couple months' time and go, we'll put in a poor performance against Man City or something and say, oh look, nothing's changed, but it's going to take a long time. It's going to be, but I think that give us like another few transfer windows a year down the line, I think we'll be in a much better place. So I'm pretty happy with what's going on so far.
It's like me on the podcast. It takes a little bit of time to get warmed up, lads.
What do you think this to be?
I'm over the moon. I was happy from when I knew he was coming in, but I just the way he talks. Look, he sold me in it. I heard bits and pieces in the interview and actually sat down and listened to all of it, and I thought, yeah. One of the quotes about sprinting to the wrong decision. It's better to walk to the right place rather than sprinting to the wrong place, or some version of whatever he said. And I just thought, yeah, this guy's got me. So I'm really feeling positive. I'm waiting for the summer window. I think that's where maybe our test will come, because we know what we need. It's just going to be interesting if it's going to be, £5 million players, 12 £5 million players, or 25 million pound players. It doesn't seem like we're going to be spending a lot of money. So I want to know how they're going to jig it. They're talking about making money.
Do you think that's the priority, though? Like getting players in? I personally think Greenwood, Sancho, Anthony are the.
I think they'll be gone. I think those players. I think those players will be gone. Sancho's going to be gone. He's not coming back. As I said already, I don't think it was him not playing for Ten Hag. He wasn't playing for the club. Ten Hag doesn't play his wages, so I think Sancho should get stuff. Anthony has been absolutely pathetic. I don't know how that works, because he must be on, north of 150 grand. People have seen him play. Who's going to be paying him 100 grand? So the United have to pay him off to get him off the books. What's the deal with that? And who was the other one we were talking about?
Greenwood.
I mean, look, he what's his name? Thingy Bob there. Ratcliffe did say on Mason Greenwood, Ford Mason Greenwood left the club by mutual agreement in August and joined Spanish club for Taffy on loan. Blah blah. We need to look at the facts, judge him fairly, and take into consideration what the values of the club are. Then we come to a decision. When we come to that decision, it's not appropriate for me to comment on Mason Greenwood. I mean, it came up, so we had to answer it. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm not, whether I protest, whether I decide that I'm not going to go on Twitter because they're going to re-sign him. It doesn't matter what I do. If they bring him back, then I think it's going to open a whole load of worms. The fact that he's out there already doing what he's doing, I just see it as money. So take the money. Fair play. He did what he did and he's gone. But I have no idea with that. What's your thoughts, Bath Time? Because I know you're a bit
Well, I think the most important thing, right, is that you kind of brought it up. You talked about Anthony's wages, 150k, 80 million. There has to be a business decision and a football decision made on that, which is we've got to get that man, in my view, we've got to get that guy out of the club and we've got to save as much money as possible doing it. Exactly the same with Sancho. Greenwood, I don't want him playing for the club again. Like you sort of think about the people in your lives, like the women in your lives, and you think about sort of what he's done, and I can't move past it. Like everyone's got the right to have a fresh start and be, and redeem and rehabilitate themselves. But I think it's a stain on the club to allow it to happen here. I think he's got to go and do that somewhere else. So for me, I don't want to see Greenwood back in a United shirt, but I want to see him rehabilitated and a decent member of society in the future, but not our society at Manchester United.
Rich.
I'd say pretty much the same sort of thing. That obviously, as a fan, I don't want Greenwood at the club. But like you said, it's a club decision. I think the most sensible thing, and hopefully the decision they come to, is that a football player of his ability is going to be in demand. I think there's a few clubs interested. It's like Atletico Madrid, isn't it? Juventus, and there's somebody else. I can't remember who it was now. Barcelona. But there's a few clubs interested, and I think if they don't ask for unrealistic fee, it's probably fairly easy to move him on. A player of that ability, that age, and the best case scenario, I think, for us is that his loan spell goes quite well. It looks like it's gone all right as far as I can see. It's not tearing it up, but he's still performing at a similar level to Manchester United in terms of like what he's contributing in games. So I think they can move him on, recoup some money, and then I think there might be a bit more money for transfers than people think, based on the club brings in a lot of money already, and we'll be moving on some like high-profile, expensive people like David De Gea last season. But who knows? I don't think it's necessarily the priority to splash loads of money, because I think you can build a club slightly more sensibly, and I think that's what we were talking about yesterday on my channel, is that you don't need to spend £100 million per person. You don't need to do the Chelsea model. You can be a bit more savvy and build a team rather than look for just individual superstars. So hopefully that will be something we do.
We're not going to see Mason Greenwood playing in a Man United jersey again. Not a hope. And Ratcliffe's not going to come out and say that either. He's going to say we'll come back and assess it, and we'll see how it goes. And he may play for Manchester United again. He may not. What that means is he's gone out on a loan spell. He's increased his value. We'll bring him back. He'll probably train with the club, and we'll sell him on. They're not going to bring him back into the club. It's not worth it. It's not worth the heartache. No, regardless of how good he is. Or whether
I don't even think he's going to train. I don't think he'll come back. Can you imagine him in a Man just in the kit? No, I don't think he comes back. I don't think he comes back even training wise.
Can you? He hasn't been convicted of anything, so legally, contract wise, you probably just have to say that and then just move him on.
Yeah,
sensible thing.
Stick him on gardening leave.
There you go.
OMONDI, you want to go for a couple of these messages? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think I remember when they were endorsing Michael Jordan, like in the NBA. There's a Nike advert I remember said, "Be like Mike." Everyone wants to be like Mike, that sort of thing. And I think when you're growing up through the academy now, no one's gonna be saying like be like Mason Greenwood or it should be like Kobe, or we need to set an example. And this is like a fresh. We're washing our hands with the old ways, the old system of buying players, the old ways that the club was run. And I think it applies to the players as well. And even though I like Greenwood as a player, I think he's a fantastic player. I do finally agree that maybe we need to wash our hands with him. And
you change your mind?
Yeah, I do now. I do.
Why?
Because I realize because it's like we're revitalized, aren't we? We need to sort of out with the old, in with the new kind of thing. We don't hoard stuff and the way things you described there, guys on the panel about it's tarnished and we can't allow that, and they're not really talking of it. It's not a good way. You don't want to sort of step up with something new and then drag something from the past, which is not going to be. It's not good for the club, I don't think. And I think he needs to go on. One of you guys said in the panel about going on and becoming a better representation of himself and showing the rehabilitation somewhere else, not at our club. I think the young players as well, he needs to be set an example. I think they're going to make an example of him and say, don't be like Mason Greenwood. It's a bit like like when you have the Green Cross code man or something. You got a way to say like this: how you cross the road. You had the Green Cross, the Green Cross code man or whatever it is, or the cat Charlie the cat. Don't do drugs. It's going to be like Grange Hill. Just say no. Stop. Greenwood. He's the face for do not be like this guy. Do not end up like him. Because it's a bad thing to happen. He was on top of the world. He was flying high, and he made the mistake, and he's been ruined, and he's going to be made an example of for the rest of his career. And he needs to turn it around for something good, but he shouldn't be at Man United anymore. Just comments quickly while we're talking here. Mason Greenwood, hi Tyrone. He says,
no, Andrew, no, Andrew, no, Andrew. I've just seen your last comment. No, 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 no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mason Greenwood should be thankful that he's able to play in Spain. Him coming back would be a PR nightmare. Yeah, it's a good point. And the club should come first. Andrew saying here, Amondi has read the fan base. You got to respect all the opinions of the fans for sure. DK Wilson saying,
don't read this one.
Oh, sorry. Oh, so bitchy, Darius. That's so funny. Here we go. Sancho, Greenwood, Anthony, Donny van der Beek might get some money, and we have close to 100 million or so. So we're talking figures there. And
I'm not sure Donny gets too much though.
It's true though, but we got to the stage as a big club. We're talking about doing the maths and talking about all these figures for players, and usually it wasn't like that in the past. But even us on the panel are talking like that. And Mr. B looks intelligent with his glasses, doesn't he? You know, they say he does. He said, "Why should you wear?" No, but it's true. You say, "Why should you wear glasses to a maths class?"
Who says that?
No, I'm asking. Why should you wear maths glasses to a maths class?
Oh, this is one of your shitty jokes.
Come on.
Go and tell me why. Go and tell me why. Go on.
It helps with division.
Very good.
You know what? One day you're actually going to tell me one that you like. You're actually going to tell me one that you like. And by the way, DK Wilson, I think he was talking about Kobe Mainoo, to be fair, when he said that. But you know, we're going to go on to the next slide. Ratcliffe's reason for pursuing the deal. It was a boyhood dream, but they never come true normally. This is the exception. It's ruled my heart. This is not a financial investment in me. For me, if I wanted to make a financial investment, I would have bought another chemical company. It's very much taking one of the great challenges of the world. Oh, fuck off. What did I just say? It is very much taking on one of the great challenges in the world. It's a very worthy challenge and very exciting. Would you, if you had the money, would you have done what he did last time?
Yeah. What else am I going to do? Like, get onto my iPod and hire an orchestra to come out running with me, play the Rocky theme as we all run down the road. Yes, it's everyone's dream, isn't it? To sort of be the kind of the guardian of the spiritual, you know, of the sort of sacred flame of United. And I really like everything he's saying. Like, he said that it's that in the past we've put commerce first. So we've been a commercial club, and by generating money, we'll spend that on the football and success will come. And now he wants to put the football first, and the money will take care of itself. And, you know, he could, if he wants to make loads of money, he'd probably, you know, buy lipstick factories or get into something really boring like paper or cardboard or something like that. But instead, he's got Manchester United. He's got Rashford, McTominay, Bruno. He's in charge of everything. That must be an incredible feeling.
You had to get McTominay in there, didn't you?
Especially the McTominay part.
Yeah. Well, when Amondi was saying, like, be like Mike, I was hoping he was going to say, be like McTominay. proper professional.
Advertising campaign.
Air Scott. Just missing a header against Chelsea. I think that this is all great. Does anyone have any fears that this is this is to make money?
No. When he took over at Nice, he wouldn't have been as experienced as he is now. So he let his brother take the original CEO was made step down to technical director, and his brother, Jim Ratcliffe's brother, was made CEO. And obviously, it didn't work out too well, the whole scenario. And what we have now is Brailsford was brought in, and he sacked Jim Ratcliffe's brother and the technical director, who was the former CEO. So, as good as Radcliffe is, he's the visionary. He's the one with the ideas. He has people like Brailsford coming in behind them, and these are the workers. These are the fellas that are going to make things happen. And not only make things happen, he's brought in the people under him who are going to financially make it. By Barrera we brought in, and now we're talking about bringing in Dan Ashwood. Is that the name, isn't it? As the technical director. So they're bringing in. I'm afraid to make the mistake in the names, or I'll end up Pat Williams again for the rest of my life. So they're bringing. They're not just coming in and talking the talk. At the moment, they're walking the walk. They really are. With the amount of people they're bringing in, and we're going to see some shock at this club, because just like watching that game of football the weekend, there's people that just aren't committed to the club, and you can see it in their performances for 90 minutes. They just can't hold it.
Rich, how much people do you think we actually need? Do you think they're employing too? This might be my only worry, that they're employing too much people. Is there space for all of these people in the system? Because there's a technical director, a director of this.
I don't know if it's true, but I heard they wanted to streamline a lot of the staff. I don't know if that's across the board in terms of like from senior level down to everyone working at Old Trafford. I don't know, but I understood they wanted to streamline. They thought there was too many people originally. So I think they're going to bring in a lot of people, but I think that more people than they bring in will leave, if that makes sense. So I think they'll downsize overall, but they will replace a lot of people because they clearly don't think the right people are there to do what they want to do. So I think that originally, obviously, he's got Brailsford involved. He's started scouting or actually offering people like Ashworth positions, which they've accepted. We just need to work out compensation. So I don't think there'll be too many people. I think if anything, there'll be fewer once he's finished. But I think obviously you need to get these people in while you can, and the other people, I don't know what's going to happen, but people will be leaving. So I don't think there'll be a problem with that. They'll know what they're doing, and it's going to just take a bit of time. I think that's all. But we probably don't see about people leaving, do we? We probably just see the high-profile names that are linked to Manchester United, because that's the exciting story, not someone that's not working at United anymore.
Shopping solutions. It was a question. It was just a question, my friend. Sorry about that.
I think it's a good question, Mr. B, because Ratcliffe is minority owner, I think, and he's in charge of one part of the business, but there's still other parts of the business there. And with many years ago, there's a story that scares any American investor, and it's AOL Time Warner, when a big media company bought an internet company and no one knew their roles or responsibilities, and they genuinely burned like 10 billion. It scares them all the time. So what we've got to be really clear about when we get the people in is that they're in for a specific reason, and they have a predefined and specific role, because otherwise we're just getting all the lads in. Everyone needs to know what they're doing. So I think Shopping Solutions being unkind to you. I think that's a very good question.
No. Ratcliffe on recruitment on and off the field. Ultimately, the level we want to get to Manchester United is not the level we are at. It takes time. It's not just about players, it's about the whole machine. There are thousands of people in the machine, and we need to get that machine working well. We need to be as good as everyone else in the game at recruitment, and we haven't been. FFP is a new element in football. It's really important for part of managing the football club well. We will assess how much money we have available and use it well. We have to find the best people in the world, ensure they have the right character and personality, and create the right environment for elite sports people to be successful. All we're doing is trying to drive performance on the pitch. Another beautiful quote from him. I'm going to start with you on Monday. What are your thoughts on the quote on this one?
Yeah, this is what we all want to be hearing about transfers and sort of players we're getting in. I just want to say, I think we started already. We've got the young guy up front, the Dane Rasmus Højlund. Now, there was a quote the other day from the manager saying you're starting to see his character, and the reason we bought him because he showed character. He came to the club as a young man, had a lot of pressure on him. He didn't score for 15 games or so. And you have to have a lot of character because a lot of people can fold during that. But we're seeing now the confidence of him shine through. So I think when you're talking there in the last paragraph about have to find the best people in the world, ensure they have the right character and personality, I think we've done that and spent the good money wisely with Rasmus. It looks like a good investment into the future now. Like I say, as I repeat, a lot of players would fold under the pressure of Man United. And he seems to be showing the right characteristics to sort of come through it and shine. So yeah, once again, the financial fair play comes into question. He's saying the right things again. He wants to buy the right sort of players and have different expectations, better expectations, than we had before in recruitment, which is key. And so look at his face. I mean, I'm a body language expert. He's just popped in. He's popped his head into the manager and say, "Hey guys, look at my quote," and he's very proud of himself. And everyone's lapping him up right now.
You need to get Jim Ratcliffe a matching head on the Monday for the agenda.
Yeah, he needs a bandana.
Thoughts on these quotes? You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You guys are so stupid. I swear to God Almighty, Rich. Sorry, thoughts on these quotes, Rich?
I'm just looking at Andrew about Højlund. I think Højlund's done exceptionally well recently, hasn't he? And he didn't score in the league, and I know people were talking about that a lot, but he did get 5 goals in the Champions League, and a couple of goals in the Premier League, I think, were disallowed because the ball went out of play or for various reasons. So it's not like he was completely. It wasn't fluffing lots of chances every single game. He wasn't getting a lot of service, and he was generally, scoring in other matches in the cup. So I wasn't too concerned. Also, he's only 20. I think he's obviously improving a lot. I think it helped probably not having Anthony in the team so much and having Garnacho, which I think it's helped the team overall as well. And also we're getting defenders back. So I think that the team overall is looking better. I like the bit about character because Manchester United is going to attract players. People talk about getting top 4 football. It doesn't matter where Manchester United finished in the league. They're always going to attract players because we pay either we pay a high salary or we can hopefully in the future we can offer a platform where players like Bellingham, he did a tour of United, didn't he? And obviously he went to Real Madrid. If I was Bellingham, I'd look at Manchester United a couple of years ago or a year ago, and you'd definitely go to Real Madrid. There's not a question in my mind. But if Manchester United can get serious football players, everyone's going to have some ability, but serious professionals that want to win, because that's what you really want, players that want to win as a team. And if they get the characters right in the team, I think you can transform a team fairly quickly. And I'm maybe not as quick as fans will want, but I think it'll be quicker than some people think. So again, he's saying all the right things, and as fans, just actions will speak louder than words, and we'll just see if he can keep doing what he's doing. But maybe the summer's going to be a big window for us. See what happens. Maybe more outgoings than incoming, but also the manager situation. So I think we're going to see fairly soon if things have changed, because the last few transfer windows have been more missed than hit, I would say.
Pat.
Yeah.
I tell you.
No. Sorry, I went off in a daydream there about what was going to happen.
It's all right.
I was thinking about who would show into my own personal wood chipper to get rid of straight away. No, but I totally agree with Rich. I feel like they're going to come in here. They're going to assess all the areas. They're going to assess even just the team, and even just down to Højlund. Højlund's playing fantastic at the moment, but we have to make sure that he's not the be all of end all. We have to get another striker in. We have to get rid of the likes of Anthony Martial, get him off the books, and get a striker in who just plays week in, week out. Just as really as simple as that. So, where before every summer we went in and they were always panic boys, high fees, high wages, get them in, chuck them into the squad, hope for the best. And I wouldn't say there's any assessment of character done, even with the likes of Bellingham. I'd say Bellingham walked into Manchester United and said, I'd rather work in Morrison's than come and play with Manchester United at that current time. It was like a circus. So it will be, I'd say there will be a lot of shock transfers. And not just the ones that we think they're going to go, who are the obvious ones like Sancho and Anthony and Martial. There might be 1 or 2 more shock ones that might happen that we didn't really expect.
Those are the interesting ones if they do happen, to be fair. Those are the ones I'm actually waiting for. Did I get everybody's opinion on this quote? I think I did, didn't I? Yes, it feels like a Friday. On the repute of Dan Ashworth, on the pursuit, United have made an official approach to Newcastle for sporting director Dan Ashworth, who was put on gardening leave. Somebody can somebody explain gardening leave to me after this, please? I think Dan Ashworth is
It's nothing to do with gardening, just to let you know.
You
I
can
want to
garden
know
if you want.
with the
free
quote,
time.
why do they call it gardening leave? What is the
Gardening leave is
background
where
behind that?
gardening leave is where you unofficially hand in your notice and you get paid to stay at home and not be around your place of work during your notice period.
Yeah, but I what notice period? If you handed in, I don't understand why they.
You hand in your notice.
If you resign from your job, you have a notice period, won't you? And the higher up you are in the company, usually it's longer. And if you've got a 6 month or a year notice period, they don't want you at the company, particularly as his role would involve access to a lot of sensitive information. They want him frozen out now, so they just don't want him on site, basically. So he can garden if he wants to. He can do whatever he wants.
And the
Imagine.
the amount of money Manchester United are going to have to pay for that garden leave, I say it's going to be a lot of money, and I wouldn't say it'd be disclosed, but it's going to be a hefty fee.
Why do you think that they're going to pay the money?
No, because he probably could have 12 months to 6 months of a year.
He's got 18 months left on his contract.
Yes, but he might have to give a minimum of 6 months to a year when he wants to leave, if he wants to hand in his notice.
A year?
Well, it
Do
could be.
people have jobs where you have to give a year's notice?
It depends on the project that he's working on. It's not like he's working a normal 9 to 5 like we are.
He might even have a clause in his contract, Mr. B. Like, this massive fraud, Ashworth, was an extremely expensive.
Right. Sorry. Allegedly, but Bathtime, could you just give a little background? Because we know you don't like Ashworth. Does it have something to do with Peterborough?
It does have something to do with Peterborough United.
What would that have got to do with Peterborough? I'm not ice cream.
No, nothing to do with ice cream. He was head of the Centre of Excellence at Peterborough United that didn't take yours truly on as a player when they were in like League Two or something. Absolutely disgraceful decision that is the albatross around his neck. And I'm not having any of it. And now he's back like 15 years later to torment me even more. Now he's at my club. Like it's unbelievable. But the thing with Ashworth as well, Mr. B, right, is when Ashworth, shut up, Andrew. When he moved from Brighton, they had to pay a lot of money to get him out of Brighton. And I would imagine that he will have a sort of some kind of pact. Could you have a non-compete clause in your contract where another company has to pay the equivalent of a transfer fee in order for him to leave?
It would be, yeah. Like he would have clause in his contract that he can't go after certain individuals or projects that he would have been involved in for Newcastle. So there's a lot, and for him to disclose any of the information he's been working on, the compensation package for Newcastle, it's going to be absolutely ridiculous. But that'll never.
What you're saying is we shouldn't go for him.
I'm saying that we're not paying that money for no reason, basically. So that's very good.
I think it's time dependent. I've worked with people that have that in contracts and had it in my contract sometimes where it says if you go to a company that's competing or working in the same field, for a certain amount of time at least, you can't contact people you worked with or try and headhunt them. It's difficult to enforce in different, but it's the same sort of principle where there's a time sort of where you can't do this, and maybe that money makes these clauses go away. Maybe it smooths the water a bit. And obviously Newcastle will be a bit stung because someone has joined their club, they have the big takeover, a lot of excitement, they want to be one of the big clubs in the Premier League, and suddenly one of their key acquisitions turns around and says they want to leave to join Manchester United. So they're going to be a bit annoyed. So they're going to want to not make an example of them, but they're a bit as well. So they want some money back. And also they paid Brighton some money. So they'll come to an agreement, but I think it'll be, I don't know if it'll be announced, but Newcastle aren't going to be very happy. And both, they don't want to lose face, do they, either? Manchester United don't want to be seen to be throwing money around like they used to. So
I quite like the idea of us just going in and taking what we want. It's just that it's not what I want. Give me Paul Mitchell. He's on a free, easy. Go
AKA Paul Williams.
Who's Paul Williams? Oh yeah,
Paul Mitchell's brother.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think later in the interview, he talked about how Radcliffe said that they sat down with the City group and they had a perfectly grown-up conversation about Omar Baradi, where he wanted to join and stuff, and they sorted it out like proper business people. Newcastle seemed to be a poorly run club with a lot of egos and things, and they're going to try and make it as messy as possible, because I think that they're kind of being shamed, where they've gone out and spent all this money on an overhyped recruitment guy, and now the bigger have come.
How many times has anybody moved from one job to another, and when you get to a premises, it's not all as hyped up as it's supposed to be? Maybe Ashford was looking for a reason to get out in the first place, and when Manchester United came calling and sold them all these dreams of all the people they're going to surround them with, and one of them who's already in situ, maybe he was just like, okay, don't have to ask me twice. Where do I sign? Regardless of previous histories of down in your football career. Hey, Marriott Simpson there. Give him that.
Sounds more like
give him one there, Amandi.
Yeah, you've dressed up as her tonight.
Look, you got to get the best of the business, isn't it? It's like getting the A team. They had the best team, didn't they? Murdoch, Face, good with the women. If you want to fight, yeah, and you always had Hannibal as a leader. Like that's the Jim Ratcliffe with the cigar. Say, I love it when a plan comes together. And he wants to get that team.
Benny McCarthy's B.A. Baracus.
Yeah, maybe they could drive around in a bit nice van like that as well. And
who's Tom Huddleston?
Oh, did you watch the game yesterday? They beat Man City 2-1. He was playing in there. He just looked like he was just in the middle of the park. All these slim young kids, and there's big old, big belly, barrel-chested Tom Huddleston. He scored a wicked goal as well.
But he must be doing for him to still be there. He must be doing a pretty good job. I don't know how he fell into the role. I don't know how it came about, but it hasn't been 6 months. It's been a couple of years since he's been there. So fair play to him. Fair play to him.
Good shout, Mr. B. I agree with you.
I really like Tom Huddleston. Like, I've always liked him as a footballer, and I think it's quite fun that we've got these kind of like player coaches smacking up the City reserves. Imagine going to have to explain to Pep that you lost to the United team and with a 34-year-old 16-stone midfielder that can't move, scoring the winner. Brilliant.
Talking of overweight things that can't move, sure, he's injured, guy.
Did Andrew write that
He's out the rest of the season.
Is that official?
He came off. Yeah,
Really?
He's out for the rest of the season. Reoccurrence of well, it's something to do with his legs anyway. Maybe I should have done more checking before that, but I've had a busy day and I was jigging over the interview with Radcliffe. So look, at the moment he's out for the rest of the season. Do you think we overplayed him in this little period? That's going to go to you, Bath Time. And also, what the hell are we going to do now for left back for the rest of the season?
Oh God, yeah, of course we've overplayed him. We've brought him on for 45 minutes and had to take him off. Shouldn't have played. Played out of desperation. Poor management. I personally feel. It looks like we have to play Lindelof at left back or right back with Delo. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think, is only 2 weeks off. So Wan-Bissaka could be back for the City derby. But I mean, I really like Delo at right back, and I feel that we'll lose something if we move him to left back. But you have to assume that for the next 2 games, Fulham and Forest, let's get through them with Lindelof at left back, and then we'll integrate Wan-Bissaka in at right back. And let's not go and do what everyone will want to do, which is go and pick some 17-year-old from the academy who's not ready and play them, because if they were anywhere near ready, they'd have played on the tour in the summer and things. Like, let's get senior professionals in those positions and get through it.
What are you thinking, Rich?
I was just thinking how many people got at left back this season. Isn't like 6? It's getting a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Because I know Andrew's in the comments is not a fan of Luke Shaw, but we know that this injury issue with Luke Shaw has been pretty much every year since we signed him, and the fact we haven't managed to get a suitable, like, Malacia, is he still alive? I assume he's still alive. It just disappeared.
The website
We
is saying
just
that
have
he's
any
not too far
options.
away, Rich, but that's desperate.
I don't think Lindelof should really be in the team much, but I guess there's not many other options, is there? And I think maybe Dallo did a decent job at left back, but I'd probably put him in his natural position, and we'd have to just take a hit, I guess, for 2 games, and hopefully Wan-Bissaka comes back soon. But it's a bit shambolic that we haven't got someone that can play a certain position.
Pat,
I'd rather play Johnny Evans at left back than Victor Lindelof. I'd rather leave Victor Lindelof at the next away game and just don't tell him where the ground is and let him stay there. I'm not the biggest fan, as you can see, but yeah, it's desperate. Like, we knew Malacia's been injured last season, and we still let Alvaro, what's his name, Hernandez, go out on loan. And it was crazy. Like, I saw him play in the Aviva at the start of the season, the pre-season, and he looked red hot. And we were like, geez, that young fella needs a good run this year. Hopefully he does. And we put him out on loan. Well, one of our young and upcoming defenders is out injured. And now here we are with Luke Shaw with his consistent hereditary injuries that he gets every year. And we're back to square one again. So hopefully now a bit of sense gets brought up from our new senior management, and these kind of stupid problems don't happen anymore.
Yeah. You know what? It's really heartbreaking in a way, because that's one position where we're quite vulnerable. As Pat was saying, with Malacia being out, we expected to come back maybe in January or get some good news. But the bad news was that he's had a recurring injury or something. He's delayed his comeback. So I think when you plan, you can be the best of planners sometimes, and still things can go wrong for you. So I'm a bit anxious now about how we set up going into our next couple of games. And it's not 2 weeks till City. It's next week, after this weekend. I think it's the 3rd of March, around that time. So how are we going to set up with that? So I'll be interested to see how we perform, and without Luke Shaw. It's a big loss. You talk about players coming out of your team. If you go through the team, who would be the biggest loss in the team? Would it be Onana? Would it be the striker? Would it be Garnacho's? Would it be Bruno? Or would it be McTominay? I think Luke Shaw is a big loss because there's nobody like him at the club. I know Andrew's ripping him in the comments, but for me, he's one of the top 3 left backs, the top 5 left backs in European football that I've seen. And I don't watch a lot, but I think Alphonso Davies, and no one's really that much better than him. His touch is brilliant. He gets up and down the pitch. He gets on with his job. He's become a good pro at Man United. It doesn't matter how long he's been there. He's a consistent guy. And it's when you always miss someone when they're gone. And I think he's going to have a detrimental effect on what I thought was the top 4 coming our way or closing that gap. I think we're going to feel it later down the line.
Monday, right? With Luke Shaw, do you think, like, you obviously think he's a good player and stuff like that, but he's got these issues with injuries. Do you think we should look at Martinez in the same kind of way, where he's a good player and he's been out
Oh, come on,
for the majority of the season?
He was unlucky though, bath time. Jesus Christ, a man fell on his bloody knee.
Yeah, he's had 3 serious injuries in a year.
Yeah, but the man fell on his knee. That's one. That was accidental. The breaking of the foot would have been, I think the rehab for the breaking of the foot was probably the one that would probably piss me off more. The one that he just come back from. But the other 2, breaking a foot is you can break a foot. And as I said, that big lump fell on his leg. Look at Jota. Jota's out for months because the geezer fell on his knee. So
But the point
would,
is that he's been injured probably for the same amount of time as Luke Shaw has this season. They're both quality players. Should we be thinking that because we can't count on their availability, that it's time to possibly downgrade to more consistent performers?
Luke Shaw, yes, not Martinez.
Martinez, up until 21-22, he'd only missed one game a year from 2019 to 2022. 2021-22 season with Ajax, this is where he puts fuel on the fire for Bartong's comments. He missed 10 games with Ajax. He missed 12 games the following year with Manchester United, and then he's missed 22 games with a foot injury this year. So the last 3 years have not been great for him. So is that going to be consistent, or is that an operation he needs? But it was a foot injury, metatarsal fracture, and then a muscle injury.
See? Nah.
What do you mean, see?
I'm talking to myself.
See, back when you're wrong.
I did. I'll take it. I'm not having him as I'm not having him down as an injury prone player. I think that's what you're trying to go with it, bath time. I won't have him as an injury prone player. But
no, I wouldn't sell him. But what I'm saying is that when we talk about like Luke Shaw being so vital to our team and like almost irreplaceable, we've got exactly the same thing with Lisandro Martinez, and neither of them have really been available this season. So is it something we need to consider?
Yeah, maybe you're right. But do you think it's going to be? Obviously, this is where the Dan Ashworths of the world and all of these other players who are now going to be looking for players with Luke Shaw's characteristics, maybe apart from the weight. Maybe that's where they're going to be looking at now. They found a player or a system that works, and now they're going to go out there and identify that player. Could that be something? Could that be something that the avenue that? Because we've got one left back at the club. I mean, there's a Premier League player who's been suspended for being, well, not suspended, who's in rehab for being addicted to laughing gas, yeah?
Really?
Then obviously they're not going to say who it was, but I'm beginning to wonder if it's bloody Malacia. You know what I mean? Nobody, for God's sake.
Why? Because he's laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, they're never going to say who it is, but I'm just throwing it out there, man.
So what? There's a Premier League player that isn't playing football because he's got a nitrous oxide addiction.
Yeah, 150%.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Donny played 6 games in 3 years. He was just on the balloons.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the future of the club now. I do actually think we're in good hands before we. Can
anyone explain to me Shopping Solutions comment? Can we not simply recall Alvaro from wherever he is?
Would he come back? Well, he had the opportunity
to.
Yeah, but I mean, when I say come back, would his attitude be right to be coming back? Because Ten Hag had the opportunity to keep him. I mean, we had Reguilon up until Christmas, and to save money, we sent him. He's now all right. He was crap yesterday, but at least it's a left back. We had him at the club, and then we've let him go.
But I mean, OMONDI, you were saying that that you can't plan for stuff. It looks like we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot by putting players like Brandon Williams. He might not be great quality, but he's a Premier League left back.
Yeah.
We've sent one of our kids that was part of the team that won the Youth FA Cup out. We got rid of Reguilon on loan, and we got Shaw, who is who's just too. You can't rely on Shaw and Martinez to finish a season.
No.
So is that unlucky, or is that actually just a massive misreading of the squad?
What I would say is, if you watch my show on injuries, you'd realise that football is full of injuries. You're going to be unfortunate throughout the season. It does balance out. We had a bad start to the season because players are out. Casemiro, Eriksson out for a long time. Martinez is out for a long time. It happens in football. It's just something that you just have to bear with. So with that, knowing that the unknown of what could happen in the next few months with players getting injured, you have to plan and you have to take a risk. And you have to balance it with, if I kept Alvarez, Fernandez at the club, would he just be sitting on the bench doing nothing, just rotting away? You got to give these guys experience. You have to be brave enough to say, send this guy on loan with a no bring back clause or whatever, and let him go and have a season out there and grow as a player. So when he comes back, you've got a better player all round. So that's the risk you have to take. And I think when you're planning these things, Bath Time, and I don't know if you agree with me, Rich, you can consider it. You have to take these things in consideration that Martinez, as Bath Time said, does get injured and Luke Shaw gets injured, but you have to go take that risk. And you can be the best of planners, but sometimes you get it wrong.
It's just on a Kobe Manu moment for the young left back to come back off recall and get his opportunity now that nobody can actually come in and take his place.
But that's what you want.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Can we not do that? Give him the opportunity. Is he not good enough to grasp the opportunity? Or can we not?
It's a bit of a lose-lose for the manager if it works out, isn't it? If we bring Alvaro Fernandez back and he does exceptionally well, questions have to be asked about why he was sent out in the first place. And I would imagine the two most injury-prone left-backs in world football, in Malacia and Shaw, have been kept over him.
That's a reach.
I think with Luke Shaw, though, it's not a surprise, is it? So I think for other positions on the pitch, maybe you could be taken by surprise. I think most people are surprised if Luke Shaw completes the whole season. So the fact he's injured is just pretty standard for Manchester United fans. It's been every year. I think with Luke Shaw, I get Bathtime's point as well. When you're a player that's had a few injuries, it's only 1 year for Martinez, so I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. Luke Shaw, those injuries and extremely serious injuries that he's had, I think they've got to take so even when he gets back to full fitness, I don't think he's ever going to be as he would be without the injuries. So he's always going to be potentially injury prone, and I think these injuries do add up. And I think with Luke Shaw, I think for Manchester United, it's probably better off finding a new left back long term, because I think for Luke Shaw, as good as he is, and I agree he's good, you just know that it's just a couple of games from an injury most time he plays. I think for Luke Shaw, unfortunately, injuries will have probably stopped him getting to maybe the level he was. Because we did see, maybe it was like 9 months where he was at his best a couple of years ago. I think we played really well for England, really well for Manchester United. And unfortunately, then just picks up another injury. And I think that's just going to be the story of Luke Shaw's career. Martinez, I think I would give the benefit of the doubt a bit more, but maybe we should look at the squad as a whole and think maybe we do need players, but like we used to have Phil Neville that could fit in like a left back or midfield, or players that can play multiple positions and could do more than one thing, not necessarily be a first team player, but you have people coming in and out of the team. Whereas we do seem to be pretty much, you're either first team player or maybe people disregard them totally. I think we need to be a bit more sensible about the squad we have. You don't need to either be in the first team every single week or be loaned out or sold. You do have players that do come in and do a job. As long as the players know, and that's their expectation, they are going to be part of the rotation and not play week in, week out. They're going to be sat on the bench most of the time, but if they're needed, they can come in and do a really good job. They're not going to be players that get paid like Rashford or Bruno, so they're not going to be too expensive. No, Andrew's got a pretty big agenda on Luke Shaw. It's been pretty ongoing for about 2 years at least.
Yeah, Andrew has he hates quite a few of the Man United players, to be fair. Andrew, is there anybody you actually like from the current squad? Has anybody before he posts? Has anybody got an idea of Andrew's favorite player in the squad?
Maguire.
That's a good one.
Kobe.
I know who he doesn't like.
He'll go for Kobe. Andrew, if you could only sell one of Shaw or Rashford, who are you going to sell?
You think
Probably
you
sell
Rashford?
one and run the other over with his car.
Okay, there we go. Lee Chemenu got Nacho. Okay, he's got 3. Okay. And he'll sell Rashford over Shaw. There you go. Boom, boom.
He needs more money, doesn't he?
Guys, is there anything else we want to we want to talk about and discuss before I go and fill my stomach? Then
Can I just throw something out there quickly? Just a thing I've been thinking about. I was looking at the odds of the Champions League this year, and favourites of Real Madrid. Sorry, favourites of Man City. Then it's Real Madrid. Then Arsenal, third favourites, and they've never won the tournament. They've got a team, quite a young team. Bayern Munich, 13-2 behind them. And then you got Barcelona, 18-1, Dortmund, Napoli, Lazio, all these other sides. I thought it's a great opportunity this year for someone to win it, because there's not many great sides. Usually at this stage you're thinking, all right, there's 4 or 5 good sides here, but I can only think of 2, and that's Real Madrid and Man City. So I think we've missed a trick here by not going through the next round. I thought we could have got pretty far.
We just have to avoid Man City, do we?
I'm serious. I just think every now and then, like Leicester, when Leicester won the league, there's an opening where teams aren't at the races. Barcelona, Bayern Munich are not. They're 8 points off Leverkusen at the moment, and they've got a star, and they beat us. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and Arsenal just lost today, so they had.
I love your optimism. I really do, but we can't have a solid 11 to 15.
But all right. But I'm saying, don't you think there's a window of opportunity for a side to go far? That you wouldn't. They're always Barcelona off it, Bayern Munich off it.
Yeah, we were off it. That's why we've got one game of football a week. Yeah, I mean, we didn't even qualify for Europa, bruv. We finished last.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the window of opportunity. Not all right. We're not in it, but there's a window.
Not for us, but there is an opportunity maybe for somebody else. So Manchester City are in a bit more of a title race this year, which might occupy them a bit. I don't know. I think Real Madrid and Man City will still be teams to beat.
I love Ancelotti as well.
But, yeah, no. As much as I'd like to say, I don't think Arsenal would be. I think maybe third. I don't know. First, that's probably about right, because the Premier League, I would say, is got the better quality league at the moment. Then after that, Bayern Munich, it's hard to say because they're not doing so well domestically. But then with Harry Kane in the team, I think
Ollie could lead them to Champions League glory.
Oh God,
I know
he could. That's the weird thing, isn't it? That Ollie could be manager of Bayern Munich and win the Champions League. That would be a nice story for Manchester United fans. I don't really care as long as it's not Man City. Bayern Munich could be fine, I think, with Ollie in charge.
Well, Tuchel, they're saying Tuchel leaves at the end of the season. They said it's been mutually agreed. Does that put any more pressure on Ten Hag, knowing that Tuchel will bend over backwards? I think he'll sell his granny to get the United job, to be fair. Do you think that puts any more pressure on Ten Hag?
No.
I think so. Like
Ten Hag is putting pressure on Ten Hag at Manchester United.
I mean, Monday, speaking like Ten Hag tonight, we've missed a trick on not winning the European Cup. We lost to Copenhagen Galatasaray.
We were winning those games.
Yeah. But like, look, I think that,
kick off.
I mean, I think right with Tuchel, I'd imagine a couple of players in the squad are asking Mason Mount what he's like and things. What we do know about him is he's worked at problematic clubs. Bayern, very difficult to manage at, lots of pressure from the top. PSG, absolute nightmare with superstars and things. Chelsea, like you have, either you've got a Russian oligarch or a demented American with too much money. So he's never fallen out with any of them clubs. He knows how to toe the line. He's a very, very good cup manager. Like, he might not be a league manager where you get the consistency to win the league over a season, but Champions Leagues, FA Cups, he might be the guy that we get in whilst we're preparing to become a league winning side. He knows our league, which is important as well. And Ten Hag clearly doesn't sort of know our league. So the fact that he's got a good reputation, he's well liked in football, he's well connected, he's got a good track record across European football, and he's not problematic to work with, means that I think that he'll be under serious consideration.
And the fact that he'll be a stepping stone manager.
Leave Ten Hag where he is. I hate you, Bathtime.
Why?
because you
Nobody's
don't
saying
like
Ten
Ten
Hag
Hag.
has to go. He's just under.
Yeah, bath time is. Bath time is.
He was out.
Look,
But Mr. B, when new owners coming in, he was always going to be under the microscope. He was always
Yeah, but if he puts so if he doesn't look, if he doesn't get fourth, I think he's gone. I'll be honest. I think if he doesn't get fourth, he's gone.
I don't think the 14 matters.
I think Ineos probably already decided. I know people talk about 4th, 5th, 6th, how we finish. I think that they've already decided whether they want Ten Hag as manager. I don't think a few results at the end of the season are going to influence their decision. I would guess they've already made the decision. That would be my feeling. I know people say, "Oh, how will we finish the season?" Ten Hag's been here 2 years. They'll be able to look at what he's done over that amount of time and make a decision, regardless of where we finish in the league. They're not going to think about a short term. Oh, we won the last 3 games. We scraped 4th. Right, keep him. I think they already know, and we don't know as fans. But whether a manager gets sacked from or leaves Bayern Munich, whatever the circumstances are, I don't think that's going to influence their decision because they're seriously going to be looking at this long term. So if they're going to identify who they want, and if they have to pay to get him out of the contract, they're not going to necessarily take Tuchel just because he's available. Although BAFTA made a few good points that they might look at him as someone that is a useful manager to work with. But I think they want to possibly get a manager in that they're going to keep for a significant amount of time and build with him to try and take Manchester United back. So I think they've already decided. That's my opinion. We don't know as fans, but I'd be surprised if they made a decision based on how a handful of results could go towards the end of the season.
And in fairness, your man, if you watch any recent interviews of your man Dan Ashwood, he's not in favour of swapping managers quite frequently. He doesn't want to do it. He says it changes the football and changes everything too much. So
well, look, we'll see. We'll see. Can I go and eat now? Is there anything else that we have to talk about?
Yeah, I just want to plug Rich Sports. You've got a show tonight, Rich?
Not tonight. I had people visiting, so I was going to do something with Connor earlier on, but I wasn't able to stream at that time. So I spoke to BAFTIME, and he said, "Come and join." Yeah, I was going to say I'd be interested to see how you wrap up because usually I wrap up shows quite badly, like where course finishing. I think BAFTIME described it. But normally I make the mistake of saying I'm only about to finish, and I say, "Has anyone got any questions?" And usually they're ridiculous, but occasionally there's a good one. You think, "Okay, let's just go with this one," and it makes it take a bit longer. So, and Andrew, they're not going to read up. There's probably like something controversial.
So Jim is not 46.
Thanks, Andrew.
But Andrew's got some facts there. I definitely don't think he's 46.
There you go. See, and with that, we are going to leave. We will be back tomorrow. Is it a preview tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, am I having a night off?
We got Stefan on tomorrow. So, Monday, you here tomorrow?
I'm here today. I'm here tomorrow. I'm here every day. I'm here every day. Yeah, if you want me, I'm around. Just call me. I'll be there.
Yeah. Okay. So it'll be me, Monday, and Stefan tomorrow if you want the night off.
Oh, that's another day off. Thank you. I'll take that. Well, look, guys, you won't see me tomorrow, but you will see on Monday and bath time. Rich, whenever you're ready, man, just hold up. We'll get you back on. Pat, we'll see you next week, Wednesday, and get your weekly slot. Andrew, keep your love for United in your heart, man. Don't worry, man. It'll come good eventually. And guys, look, thanks for watching. If you are still here, please hit the like, share, and the subscribe button if you are new to the channel. And we will see you tomorrow at 9 p.m.